So, men kan jag... A very merry welcome to our second episode of Blanka Talks, the Inspirational Teacher. Blanka Talks is Drottning Blanka Cyber and Snitz High School's very own international talk show with and for teachers. Our very important collaborators in the series are Varki Foundation and Teachers Without Borders. And of course, the most important ones are teachers from all over the world. In today's episode, we are honored to meet three inspiring educators. Hiba Balout from Lebanon, Dubravka Nikolic from Helsingborg in Sweden, and Annette Järild from Skövde in Sweden. They will share their experiences and thoughts on how teachers can be and are an inspiration, not only to students, but to entire communities. After watching this episode, we really hope that you'll feel inspired and know how teachers inspire others, no matter where they are in the world. During the show, we also want you, our audience, to share. What inspires you as an educator or in education? Here in the corner, you'll see a QR code. And just take out your phone and open up the camera and scan this QR code, and it will take you to the question. So feel free during the show to answer it at any time. Thank you so much. We really hope that we will get some wonderful replies on what inspires you. And we will have a look at these answers at the end of the show. But let's meet our guests. First out, we have Hiba.
Hiba Balout is a teacher in natural sciences, specifically biology, at St. George's School in Beirut, Lebanon. She also inspires young adults in becoming future leaders through Model UN and Model Arab League programs with the Lebanese American University. In 2017, she won the title of Best Teacher in Lebanon, and today she is a Global Teacher Prize ambassador.
How wonderful to see you again, Hiba. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's so lovely to see you, and it's so lovely to be with you today.
We are so happy that you're here and also that you are able to take the time to join us. We watched the presentation of you, but you are involved in so many different things, and one of the most recent ones that I've watched and heard about is World's Best School Awards, that you are in collaboration with Vika Spota from T4 Education. Could you tell us a little bit about this?
Yeah, of course. I've come to meet Vika Spota and the Global Teacher Prize. And he was honestly inspiring regarding spotlighting educational institutions and educational insights. And this is why T4 has organized the World's Best School Prizes regarding the inspirational stories of schools from all over the world, because such inspirational stories would make a ripple effect in order to develop the educational institutions worldwide. And this might, of course, contribute to have peace on our globe.
Indeed. Thank you so much for sharing this. And we really look forward to hear more about it. Now, it's time for our second guest. Annette Järild.
Annette Järild is a social sciences and economics teacher at Drottning Blankas Gymnasium, Skövde. This year, Annette, with her colleague Marie Fyr, won the award Best Teacher of Entrepreneurship in Skaraborg County. However, some of you may know her as Lärarnettan, the teacher who started doing TikTok dances during the pandemic to inspire her students to not lose hope and motivation.
Hello, Annette. How are you?
Hello. I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you for being here. Now, you're known as the teacher who TikTok dances. And I've been watching your videos, and they give me so much joy. So thank you for doing this. But what actually started you sharing these TikTok dances?
Yes, 1 year ago, I wanted to do something that's way out of my comfort zone. So I started exploring TikTok and thought maybe I should try and do a TikTok video. And one of my colleagues started dancing with me, and we thought it was really fun. And then I started to raise money for a project called Music Aid, and I'm still doing that this year as well. And during the pandemic, I thought I could spread some happiness to my students as well by dancing.
Yeah, and as you said, you are collecting money for Musikhjälpen right now, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, good. So make sure that you find Annette on Instagram and TikTok, and you will also be able to make sure that Musikhjälpen gets the aid that they need in order to prevent child labor all over the world. So thank you for doing this and sharing this, Annette. And now it's time to introduce our final guest, Dubravka Debbie Trejling Nikolic.
Debbie Nikolic is often described by her colleagues and students at Drottning Blanka Helsingborg Prästgatan as full of energy and always spreading joy and positivity. She is, among many things, a vocational teacher, a local politician and lead teacher in what we at Drottning Blanka call Kulturskapande, creating school spirit and an integrative school climate among students and teachers.
Welcome, Debbie. So happy to see you. How are you today?
Thank you very much. I'm really fine. How are you, Anna-Karin?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you. Tell us a little bit more about Drottning Blanka and this theme that we're working with, Kulturskapande.
Well, I'm so honored to have the project that we are working with. We have 27 Drottning Blanka schools around in Sweden, and we are on a cultural path in building and expanding a positive school community, like classroom leadership, develop learning environments, strengthen student resilience too, and a way of building that is in school, but through social media too. We have to be where the students are, and to come through to them, it's the way of the social media like Instagram, Facebook. So we are really trying different ways and methods to develop our school community.
Yes, indeed, and I know you're always looking for new ways to reach out to the students within the school, and as you said, also outside of the school as well. Not without the school. It's important with the school. But we're so inspired and excited to have you here today. But before we see more of you, our teachers who are joining us today, let's have a look at our first episode, The Important Teacher. In that episode, we listened to Anna Nyholm, Camilla Nordström, Marge Brown, Dr. Fred Mednick, and Augustine Porres, who shared their perspectives on why teachers matter. We also, in that episode, asked you, our dear audience, to share with us a teacher that matters or mattered to you. And here you can see some of these answers. We've seen that someone has actually mentioned their mother, and I think that's a very good teacher to begin with. Maybe that person also was a teacher. But anyways, we thank you for sharing in our last episode, and we encourage you in today's episode to please use the QR code, and it will lead you to the question and answer it. What inspires you as educators or in education? Now, let's go back to our teachers. Again, the warmest of welcomes to you, Debbie, Hiba, and Annette. Again, we're so happy, thrilled, and excited to have you with us today. You saw our audience's answer about teachers that matter to them. Hiba, do you have a teacher that mattered to you growing up?
I have a very particular and special teacher, but before mentioning this teacher, I agree with one of the audience who've mentioned the very first teacher in our lives, who is my mother. The second special teacher was the teacher in the kindergarten, Mrs. Prema, and she was Indian British teacher. I used to love her kindness, her creativity, and even her just very special way in delivering the knowledge. Not only the knowledge, but the love that she used to show and the passion that she used to have in the teaching domain has maybe made me come back home and imitate her in every single way that she used to do. And I guess at that time, my passion to teaching has begun.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What about you, Annette? Do you have a teacher that mattered or matters to you now, maybe?
Yes, I do. He both matters and inspiring me as a teacher now. It was my teacher, Emil, in upper secondary school. He was very good at making both interesting and fun lessons. And he was also one of the teachers who pushed me to become a teacher. So I'm trying to be like him now, mixing fun and serious.
Yeah, and you're really spreading that fun and joy as dancing with the TikTok dances and everything. And that's very inspirational. What about you, Debbie? Do you remember or have a teacher that matters or mattered to you?
To be honest, I have two teachers, and both were in elementary school. First one is Nada Vramovic. I went to school in Serbia, first, second, and third grade, and she taught me everything about grammatics, mathematics, and I do remember she was always calm, she was always kind and respectful to every one of us. And the second one that I highly respect is Anne-Marie Sundell. She's no longer with us. It was in Årby skola in Eskilstuna. And she was the one who did a great impact on me and in my further life, to be honest, in school.
Wonderful to hear about these people that inspired you and helped you become the inspiring and wonderful teachers that you are today. But speaking about inspiration then, which is the theme of this talk show today, what do you think is important in order to inspire students to learn and becoming involved and engaged, Annette?
Yes, I think it's important that my students actually know that I care about them. And I really try to show them that I never give up on them. But it is a hard question to discuss what's inspiring my students. So I actually asked them this week, and I got some beautiful answers. I want to share some of them with you. Many of them say that it's very important that their teachers really care about them and show respect to everyone and truly listens to them. But it's also important to have a good structure on the lessons and interesting content and tasks that are fun and challenging. And some of them gets inspired by our feedback as well. And they want us just to be like normal humans and show our imperfections as well.
It was a great initiative that you actually asked the students as well because usually maybe you don't think about it, but they do have clear answers to these types of questions. What do you say, Hiba?
Yeah, actually, I believe in the quote. I've once told you this. Teaching is a hard work, and this is why I believe that it's really a hard work. In order to just give that impact or leave that impact in the minds of students, you have to touch their heart first. You have to be someone who loves what he or she does in life. So this is why it needs a passionate teacher in order to inspire students. And the duty, I mean, teaching as it is in its title, it is something that prophets has done. And this is why I believe that through love and respect and the passion that we have as teachers, this is how we can inspire our students, and we wait to be inspired by them in order for this cycle to continue.
It was beautifully put. Absolutely, Hiba. Very beautifully put. And Debbie?
Well, what's more to say after Hiba and Annette? Well, I think as a teacher, you have to be a good listener, you have to be a good speaker, and to be inspirational teacher, I think you have to be a little bit entertainer too. That is my experience after trying different methods over these years as a teacher. To inspire, you have to know what you're talking about, and students, they can feel if it's true or not, if you have a knowledge about that or not. I think the trust, my students have to have trust in me, that the knowledge I'm teaching out to them, there is something to take in, and being confident in knowing what you're teaching, to be reflective, to engage with students, and in the meanwhile build up a relationship with them. I think the relationship is ground to everything, to be honest. Sharing knowledge is an inspiring way to be involved too. So having variety in teaching. So yeah, it's different methods to try, and you have to all the time to try something new to see, because every group is different and every individual is different. So you have to try to engage every one of them. So yeah.
And you mentioned now, like all of you have mentioned, all these different multifaceted layers of what it means to be a teacher. We actually heard that in our first episode as well, that we are so many things. But as you said, Debbie, I totally agree with you. I mean, with students, you can never fake it till you make it. You always have to be very real and true and honest about who you are. And I think that will build the trust and inspire them to be who they want to be as well. So thank you for your input on this. And again, dear audience, I wish to remind you to use the QR code that you have here in the corner of the screen. Scan it with your camera on your phone, and please, we encourage you again to share with us what inspires you as educators. Another person who is now ready to share his story about who inspired him is Mr. Sunny Varkey. He is the founder of Varkey Foundation and the Global Teacher Prize. So let's have a look at his video.
Both my parents were teachers. They came to Dubai in 1959 from Kerala. As we were growing in Dubai, we only thought it natural that as God has been kind to you, you also got to be kind to the world and create a structured way of giving. And therefore, we formed the Varkey Foundation. The mission of the Varkey Foundation is that every child deserves a good teacher.
Since 2015, there have been 6 winners of Global Teacher Prize. And today, we will announce our 7th. All previous winners will tell you the same thing. The greatest gift that Global Teacher Prize provides is a seat at the top table. A real voice to make an impact in our community and far beyond. Let's now take a look at the incredible impact that each Global Teacher Prize winner has made since lifting up this wonderful trophy.
I was delighted, honored, and just shocked.
Pope Francis announced my name. I felt like I had wings.
I mean, the announcement came from the space station and it felt out of this world.
Maggie MacDonald.
It's like time stood still, and I'll never forget that moment.
Andrea Zafiraku. The winner, Peter Tabachi.
I still remember the moment. I never imagined this could happen in real, to be a Global Teacher Prize winner.
It's such an inspiration to watch this video with Sunny Varkey and about the Varkey Foundation and this very important prize, Global Teacher Prize. And Hiba, who is with us today, I mean, you heard before, she is a Global Teacher Prize ambassador, meaning that she was nominated for one of these awards as well. And it's such an important work that they do to bring teachers to the light and making sure that we stay connected with the importance of teachers' work. So thank you for sharing this video. And now we move back, of course, to our most important guests, the teachers. Debbie, can you share an example of a teacher-student moment that has inspired you?
Oh, well, this one is really hard to choose. I can say that every moment I see our students succeed, and I can see that in their eyes, you know, when the stars is sparkling and they are feeling, I can do this. Well, that is an inspiring moment, a moment when they realize that they can. And I want students, how to pronounce this? I want students to be comfortable by being uncomfortable and challenged, you know. And I love to see how their creativity and knowledge rise, and those moments are priceless. And I think I have to believe that I have the best students, and my belief in them should have an impact, so they have a belief in themselves. So yeah, it's a circle. It's a lovely circle.
I couldn't agree more. What about you, Hiba? Do you remember a particular moment, or is it like, as Debbie said, there are so many moments?
Of course, I agree with Debbie, and this is why I feel so grateful that my life is full of such moments, actually, since I believe that inspiration, and Debbie and all the teachers would agree with me, is a cycle. You know, in other terms, we educators are inspired by students as much as we inspire them. So if to share some of the examples, I'd rather headline them. Of course, the love and respect they show me in every day inspire me and tugs me to do more and keep developing my career. And sure, by knowing many students who tell me that I'm the reason behind studying a major related to biology, maybe in the university, or becoming teachers themselves because of me. And above all, becoming a role model to them is really highly inspiring. So just to be honest and brief it's very nice to harvest recognition and prizes, but the greatest inspiring achievement from my point of view is to know that I have left such positive impact and have succeeded in changing lives of students to better ones.
Yes, I as you said, I mean, we also, we need to recognize ourselves this impact that we have on the students. Sometimes we forget that we do have this impact, and when they succeed, as you say, this is when we feel that we do have that impact and that we have created something good and made them succeed. What about you, Annette? Do you have a moment or several moments, maybe?
Yes, beautiful answers, both Debbie and Hiba. I agree with you both. And there are small moments every day that you get inspired by. But it's hard to know what you really matters to students unless they tell you. And actually, this summer, I got a message from a former student of mine. I was her teacher a couple of years ago, and she felt the need to send me this message to tell me that I truly made her feel more self-confident during her time in school when I was a teacher, and that I inspired her to know what she wanted to be in the future. And she now works at a global company known as Ernst & Young. And yeah, she told me that I was the most amazing teacher she had met during her 12 years of school. And that really made me feel like I'm in the right place.
Absolutely. I mean, you are, of course. But to get that proof, it's just wonderful. And thank you for sharing this with us. It's not without you get a little, lump in the throat and you feel your heart expanding hearing this. So thank you. Let's see what if we have Again, I remind the audience to use the QR code to maybe share some of your inspirational experiences in education. So please feel free to do that, absolutely. And we'll see if we can have a little look at them. Huh? Oh, yes. Okay. So we'll see if we can have a little look at them at the end of the show. And now, believe it or not, we have reached our final question. And of course, I want to listen to you, Hiba, Annette, and Debbie all day, every day, because I find you to be such an inspiration in your work. But now turning back a little bit more onto you, what do you think is necessary in a learning environment to keep educators inspired? What do you think, Debbie?
Well, like I said before, as a teacher, educator, you will need to find the methods and strategies that works best for you. Well, I have about 25 colleagues at our school, and every one of us is teaching the different ways. So you have to find a way that works for you. Teaching is a science, an art, a craft, like Hiba said before. And I think you have to be vulnerable to expose yourself to students, and vulnerability is the source of creativity, innovation, and change. Working as a teacher, it's a work where you have to stay and develop all the time, and see to grow with students. So you have to plan the lessons that are so engaging that they become fun. But believe me, I did have lessons too that did flop. They did it not always go their works, and I'm not afraid to apologize. And I think the students, they feel if something is wrong. So, well, like I said before, to be vulnerable and not to be afraid to do wrong, because we have to show to our youth, to our students, that we are humans too. It's okay to do mistakes, you have to be passionate about what you're working with teaching, with taking the students out of the classroom too. It's not, everything is not in the books. You have to take them outside so they know what they are, what you are teaching them about. There's so many other things to show them. So, and I believe that my teaching is serving to society, giving back, and teaching them to always do the right thing. Even if someone says something else, always feel in the heart that you're on the right path.
Well, that's very inspirational. I'm sure your students also feel this passion coming from you, and that you want them to experience what life is like. Absolutely. I remember, Hiba, when we were talking in a previous talk, you mentioned we talked a lot about that it's important also to believe, and I think what Debbie also said is like you have to believe in your students in order to also keep this kind of inspiration going with yourself as well. Do you remember us talking about that?
Yeah, sure. I remember very well. And at that time, we've mentioned that a passionate teacher, as Debbie said, is not the one that just entitles the journey of teaching by the book itself or the subject that he or she teaches, but also who believes in teaching students life skills and prepares them to become active national or even global citizens. For the sake of becoming peacemakers. And just to add to what we've previously talked about, Anna-Karin, it's really important, as we all agreed today, to have this teacher-student inspirational cycle that we've mentioned. However, teaching is about triangular relation, rather than a double one. the sides of this triangle, if I'm going to talk about it mathematically, even though I'm a biology teacher, are the teachers, of course, students, and schools. The schools have a vital role in keeping the inspirational teacher-student cycle. And how does this happen? By providing a healthy environment through supporting the well-being of teachers and students, and by also appreciating all the duty that we as teachers do, whether morally or even financially. So feeling the gratitude through healthy educational environment is what keeps us educators inspired all the time. And in turn, we will be able to continue inspiring not only our students, but also our communities. And I guess only at that time, teaching would be meaningful, and we educators would really become change makers.
I completely agree. Sorry, I got a little bit of a cough attack here.
That's okay. I got used to coughing and sneezing these days.
This is what happens on a live show.
Don't worry about it, Anna-Karin.
But I heard every word you said, Hiba.
Yeah, it's a global thing. It's a global thing. No worries.
I think it's all the inspiration I'm getting from you as well. I get a bit choked. Let's see if I can maybe have some water. Sorry. But meanwhile, while I try and stifle this cough, maybe Annette could continue. Sorry.
Yes, of course. Again, I agree with you, both of you. But I also think it's necessary that we set aside time to collaborate with our colleagues to get inspired by each other's lesson plans and stuff, and what's going good and doesn't work as we planned. And I also think it's necessary that we get further training to keep up with new research and new learning techniques. For example, I'm in a focus group now that we get further training in special educations to make our classrooms more inclusive to everyone, every student, and we then have to try new concepts and discuss them and evaluate with each other, and that's very inspiring, actually. So collaboration and new further training is important to me to get inspired.
Again, sorry. I heard everything you said, and I think it's beautiful that you really, all three of you bring out all the different aspects of what teachers and educators need. This kind of input, both from the students, of course, but this kind of, again, like we mentioned in our first episode, actually, this kind of symbiotic relationship between teacher and student. And also, of course, as you said, Annette, about how teachers inspire other teachers. And hopefully this is, or the intention with today's show is, of course, to inspire other teachers and other people in education, and helping them remember that they do make a difference and that they do matter. So thank you again for sharing and being here today with us. Let's see if we have some of our audience, if maybe they have shared some, if I'm not gonna choke before that. Sorry. Forgive me.
Don't worry.
Let's see what we have. If I can see something here. Let's see. Yes, of course. We have some options. The students' curiosity, of course, and of course the students themselves. They are an inspiration. Like you said, Debbie, when they succeed, you feel that you, of course, have been able to reach out and succeed as well.
Yeah. Well, I believe what you give is what you get. I think so.
Absolutely. And again, with inspirational colleagues, like you said, Annette, as well, learning with other colleagues and getting this input and learning from one another in that sense is also, of course, inspiration. So I wish to thank you, Hiba, Annette, and Debbie, for again taking the time, and I sincerely apologize for my cough attack here. Very unfortunate.
No, it's okay. Don't fear.
Send love.
Yes,
Send
thank you
love.
so much. And I really hope that we will talk more soon again. And with these words, I say goodbye to you. And again, thank you so much for joining and taking your most precious time and spending it today with us. So thank you and goodbye for today.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
Anna-Karin. Thank you. We will keep in touch, Hiba and Annette. Thank you.
Of course, I will
of
share
course.
everybody's
Welcome to
emails and
Hiba
everything.
Ballout.
No worries, no
Yeah.
worries.
Perfect.
We'll
Okay.
keep in touch. Absolutely.
Stay safe, all of you. Stay safe. Peace and
Stay
love from
safe and
Lebanon.
stay well.
Bye.
Bye. So, to sum up today, I hope that you really enjoyed listening in on these 3 different inspiring and inspirational teachers. And being a teacher in today's society is, as you're well aware of, full of challenges. And sometimes we need to be reminded of how important we are and how much we mean to the people we meet every day, the students. As Hiba, Annette, and Debbie have shown us here today, that in itself can be a source of inspiration. Knowing that we matter and that we make a difference to many more than we may think. I hope that you all feel an inspirational energy boost from watching today, and that you carry that with you into the new year. A huge thank you to our teachers, Varki Foundation, and Teachers Without Borders, who are our supporters, of course. And of course, the amazing team here at Academedia Academy and behind the cameras, Nina and Rickard, of course. And we'll see each other again on the 27th of January at 4 p.m. Central European Time, when we air the episode number 3, The Visionary Teacher. So I really hope to see you then. And until then, happy holidays and a happy new year. Thank you.